Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your boy Darkful Algo, and thanks for joining me on another weekend watch list building session. We are back. Sorry, there was a little bit of we took a break for a little bit. I was sick for a week, had some traveling to do, but we are back at it, and we are stronger and ready to get after it. So, welcome. I am Darkful Algo, and I do a weekend watch list every week. I go through thousands of tickers and find the top 4 to 5 stocks that are going to give us a chance to make a greater than expected move this week. So, if you're new to the channel, thanks for joining me. First time here, go ahead and take a second and click that like button, subscribe, and then turn on that bell for notifications. That way you get notified anytime we put out a new video. We've got lots of videos on a roadmap for this week, lots of big changes, especially with FlowTrade. There's been some movement there. We've got some strategic partnerships in place. There's a lot of exciting new features coming out. FlowTrade is the top tool for finding and following what smart money is doing. I mean, there's a bunch of other services that claim to follow the flow, and you're just chasing, hey now, you're supposed to be awake. Sorry about that. We'll just go ahead and stop that alarm. I'm a little early to things today. But with that being said, man, let's go ahead and look at some things we've got going on here. Our top 4 stocks for this week will be right after this quick intro. We'll see you in a second. All right, welcome back. Hey, thanks for joining me. Oh, man, I miss doing this. Got to get back in the flow of things. You know, I'm just a little rusty, but we'll get back into it. It's been a minute since I've done a video, but we will be okay. So, top 4 stocks for this week. These stocks were picked based on ATR, beta, positions from support and resistance, definitely deviation between where price action is and what smart money is going to do, okay? The top 5 stocks, right? So we have 5 stocks, but I'm probably only going to cover 4. If I have time, I'll do the bonus ticker. They are Etsy. Let's throw this over here. Etsy, LYV, BBY, TLT, and GM. TLT is going to be the wild card. Okay, so what I mean by that is I'll get through these 4 right here, and if I have time, I'll do TLT. TLT is more of an index. It's not an index. What is it? It is an ETF. So the trade's usually inverse with the SPY. So I want to give you the stocks, right? Then we'll look at the ETF if we have time. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it with our first stock of the week. That is, ready for it, Etsy. Etsy is one of the favorites. We like trading Etsy. Etsy's got some great divergence. And let me show you what we've got going on here. This is FlowTrade. This is a smart money dark pool block trade algorithm software called from FlowTrade. It's called the Flow Index. The Flow Index tracks large institutions, hedge funds, smart monies, dark pools, block trades. It tracks all of that, creates its own predictive leading indicator. Okay, what that means is that it shows what's going to happen in the market before it happens. Unlike trailing or lagging indicators, RSI and MACD, you know, all of the ones that people just have a tendency to use and they have to look left to see what's happening, the Flow Index is like, hey, this is what smart money is doing. Okay, smart money has to get into positions differently than we do. So, for example, if smart money dumped $1 million order right here, what it would do is it immediately run up the DOM and eat up all of the liquidity, all of the shares available. That would cause a quick spike, which would increase new buyers to come in and start bidding to get that into those positions, which would actually lower the price so that when all is said and done and things settle and the liquidities return to the price action, the price action is actually in a lower position than where smart money got in. Okay, so what it is, it's kind of like if you've ever seen a drop of water hit a bucket. As soon as it brings attention to the initial layer of water, it dips down and then it comes back up and then it settles. So that's kind of what happens if smart money were to drop $1 million orders, multi-million-dollar orders, and it would cause some chaos and some fluctuation in the dominant price action. And when liquidity settles out, you know, they get in here, liquidity settles out, they're actually in a negative position. So what they have to do is they have to scale into their positions as price is coming down. So as price is coming down, they're scaling in so that there's, you know, they're buying in and they're a little negative, but they know that as price comes back up, that's when they can start selling you, yes, you, the shares right? As price is increasing and they're profitable, they're taking profit on the way up. So what we look for is we look for opportunities in divergence where price is coming down and the flow index is going up, okay? Because that divergence will play out. So for example, here on Etsy, looking back on March 25th, there's divergence. Well, let's see. That's just a quick divergence. Let's look at a different one. So what we want to see is where price heads one direction and the flow index is heading another. It looks as if though there may be some divergence right around the 143 level, right? So flow index is making higher lows and higher highs, right? Smart money's buying into this position. There's trading with price action for a little bit, and we get some divergence where price is going this direction, right? Price is heading this way, right? The flow index is still heading this way. And as long as the flow index continues to make higher lows and higher highs, as soon as we get a bottoming out, right, that means that as soon as it bottoms out, smart money will start selling out of those positions as it's coming up and they're profitable. I wonder if the 1 minute chart would be a little easier to show you this. Here's a good example of it, right? So we have divergence that occurs at approximately this level here, right? See how smart money is buying into the position as price is coming down. So we get that divergence right around that 127. Well, price comes down to 122, right? And then smart money starts selling out of that position, which brings price up from 122 to 127, a $5 increase, right? And they're still going into it. So this is really quick. This happens on the 1 minute chart, so it's super fast. But it is a good way to illustrate how price will return to the flow index divergence point. Flow index doesn't come to price, price comes to flow index, okay? A couple things to keep in mind. Took a little bit of time on that one, but I wanted to show you so that we understand what's going on as we get through the rest of these, okay? So other things to note on this chart is these red lines are regular block trades, these blue lines are dark pool block trades. If you see a white line, it's good time. Now, what it means is that there's a regular block trade and a dark pool that are printed on top of each other, and they're so close that we can't really separate them out, okay? Other things you might see is these white dots. What happens when that white dot hits is that's where and when the block printed, okay? So we had a white dot at approximately 10:30 on the 29th for a dark pool trade of $140.23, right? That's when that dark pool was printed. Okay, so those things are super important to keep in mind because you'll see how price interacts with those levels. Okay, so all I ask is if there's some major areas of regular and dark pools, draw those lines on your chart, see what happens when price hits them because they act as support and resistance, right? And you'll be able to see what's going to happen in the market. Okay, Etsy divergence at about 142, currently price trading about 127. Let me just get the rest of this set up here. Other charts that we're going to look at is we're going to look at some ATR levels. We're also going to look at some Keltner channel levels. And we're also going to look at some just basic support and resistance, okay? I like to be able to cover lots of things because we know that price, regardless, and most traders and most machines come in and realize that this purple line or blue line, that's the 50-day simple moving average. Red line, red dots are the 200-day simple moving average. This white line is a 21 EMA, and these lines are ATRs away from the 21. Price is chilling right around the point of control on the daily. Dipped down to about -1 ATR. It rejected the 50-day. So this 141 level for Etsy is extremely important. If it can get back above it, then it would be above the 50-day and considered bullish. As long as it stays below it, it's kind of bearish. But look at what we got here. We got a 1, 2, a little triple bottom happening off of the earnings, a little pop. So we don't have earnings to worry about. We've got some mid to low compression squeezes happening, and the Radiant Fire tool is kind of neutral, getting ready to pop up. We like to see stocks that are trading at -1 or 2 ATRs away from the mean because price will revert to the 21, right, like it did here. Rallied up to 1 ATR away, pulled back, kind of to the 21, kind of just hovering there. Easily, you could do an iron condor like the 140, 160, 140, 120 iron condor, and just sit back and collect some money. But what we're looking for is we're looking for an opportunity where there's an explosion above the 50-day or a reversion to the 21 point of control. 127 to 140, 13 bucks. ATR about $12 a day. Etsy can definitely move. Okay, looking at Etsy from A Keltner channel perspective, we're riding this 200 SMA. I think that's what that is. Oh, the 50, sorry. The FlowTrade 50, we came down, we bounced off of it, retraced to our weekly Keltner channels, right? We're currently chilling at the bottom of a weekly Keltner channel cloud. There's a wedge. This is one of my favorite patterns to see here because I could use this cool little tool, right? This triangle pattern. Go from low to high to low to high. See what we got going on there? Compression, right? MACDs are compressing. Let me get this out of the way here. So what we're looking for is we're looking for to catch a move off of the weekly bottom up to, right? The weekly top would be the next magnet. I think that might be pushing it a little bit for Etsy, considering, you know, we're coming off the monthly. I'm pretty sure that's monthly. Monthly bottom, FlowTrade, this is the 50, right? The 50-day simple moving average, right? MACD's curling around. Earnings in May, don't have to really worry about that, but we can try to catch a move off of the 50 back up to the weekly mid, possibly. Looking at it from a 4-hour perspective, right? I should probably take a little bit more time in drawing these to make sure I connect the dots, right? From a 4-hour perspective, we're coming off the 4-hour bottom, looking for a move to, that's right, 4-hour mid, so that 136, 140. If we can get above this 50-day here, right? That's what we're, you know, that's basically what we're trying to do. So from the bottom of the triangle back up to the 140 level, I think that's pretty decent. Should be pretty easy to achieve. I'm going to get a crossover. Everything's kind of pointing down. If we reject, right, we have support down here at 121, right? If we get below that, you know, 116, we're able to catch the downside move if we needed. We're at 4-hour support, daily support, 4-hour resistance. There is that move, right? 127, 136, possibly 140s, okay? Upside move, all right, 30-minute trend spider chart. This shows exponential moving averages in the HTML cloud as well as VWAP and point of control, right? We're uptrending a little bit, we're fighting. If we can get back up above, you know, 128, that'll help start stacking our moving averages to the upside in through the 30-minute cloud, attempting to go to VWAP and this 200-day. So I like the 140s, maybe the 135s. Give me 1 second here. I got to do one thing. My air conditioner turned on, and I didn't want y'all to have to sit through it cycling through. So MACD's about to cross over. Bollinger Band, you know, TTM squeeze is happening. We like to see these moving averages, right? 8, 21, 34, 50, 200, green, yellow, orange, blue, red. So we're looking for that break above Friday's high, so 128.31. Above that, I think we get a move up to, through the cloud, up to possibly test some of these pre-market lows, 135. So 128 to 135, we'll look at the 135, 140 calls. Etsy, 135, 140 calls. Contrarian, if we break down below, let's see, it would be Thursday's low, 124, then we'd need to look at a move to the downside. So 124, 122, 120, right? Let's see the best way for me to do this. So 122.50, 120 puts. Okay. All right. And then finally, looking at it from some magic call perspective, like I said, we've got this wedge that's happening. We're looking for that wedge breakout for a move back up to the 200-day. Right? Really not that big of a move for our bottom, for our top, right? Above 140, 150 is real easy to hit, possibly even 165. So Etsy is looking pretty good for an initial play out early of the week, but keep in mind, if it just continues to compress into that wedge, depending upon where our moving averages are when that wedge breaks, will usually help with the position or direction of that release, okay? So just be careful. Make sure you look at the upside and the downside of everything, right? But we're coming off pretty significant support here, right? All right, what do we have next? We went through that. I don't know if I want to get into this one this week. This is my new chart setup. I got to get accustomed to it. Let me look at doing that next week for you, okay? Oh, what did I do? Oh, oopsie. So again, remembering my shortcuts. All right, Etsy, from an options chain perspective, let's see what we got going on here. All right, this week's, what did I say? 130, is that what I said? 135, 140 calls. All right, 140, pretty decent open interest. Yeah, there we go. The 135, 140s have got open interest, and they're definitely well within our risk tolerance. Pretty decent options spread from a delta perspective. The 140s are kind of pushing it. I would say 135's pretty good. I don't like going usually below 0.25 delta, just because it takes a lot more movement for the stock to happen for us to make some money. Looking at it from a puts perspective, there's not a lot of put volume coming in, right? The 125s, like I said, 122.50s, and which are a thing. Just these must be new. It looks like they just added these dollar increments from 115 to 120. So smart money, the market makers are expecting some dollar incremental moves. 120, 115s, right? From delta perspective. 120 puts is what I would look at, and I'd look at the 130, 135 calls. Depending on what your risk tolerance allows, you could do the 130s. But yeah, definitely Etsy 130, 135s for the long side. 120. They're saying 115 puts, so I mean, there's two ways about it. We can look. I got the 120, 115s. 1 second. 20. I know that's a big range, but Etsy can move, right? And it's very temperamental. So, all right. Next up on our list is LYV, Live Nation Concerts. Okay. You know what I should do is all right. I was gonna show you what sector they were in, so you could look at the leading ETF for that sector, but I don't have that data available this week. I'll have it for next week, okay? All right, and then all right, LYV. Flow index is making higher lows and higher highs, trading with price. See how it's bringing price with it? There's a white line opportunity there. 117.64 is where a dark pool and a regular block traded printed on top of each other. That should be kind of a line in the sand. As you can see, we do have divergence. See how price is pulling, or the flow index is pulling price up off of that white line. As you can see here, we follow the flow index, and then we get that divergence. This divergence is really new, right? Newer. And that divergence can take, there's no set time on how long it takes for that divergence to play out. But coming off of a regular block trade level at 114.37, got a white line level at 117.64, and another regular block at 119.50. There's an opportunity from 114 to 120, 115 to 120, right? Just general rule of thumb, 115 to 120, divergence. Okay. Pretty good level of support here too, right? Previously we came down, we used it as support for the push down, came up, resistance level, finally gapped up through it, using it as support, right? Move up, back down to support. Good divergence, higher lows and higher highs. Okay. LYV is currently trading at point of control, above the 50, above the 200, right? TTM squeeze is kind of still moving. Earnings, we don't have to worry about those coming up in May. There may be a pullback, so let's look at the 113 support. I'm going to write this down. 113 is the 50-day and the 21 EMA, which is the mean. So if we do get a pullback to 113, 114, Let's just call it 113.50, right? 113.50 is support. It's a 50-day as well as 21 EMA, so we could bounce off of there and trade back up. If we break that level, then we would look at the 200-day to be support at 101, right? So we break that, we look for 200. And then as far as the upside, we want to trade, we're currently trading at 1 ATR. We could go out to 2 ATRs, so that 125 to the upper end, right? The top would be 125. All right, so that means I like the 120, 125s calls. And then 115. We'll do the 110, 105 puts, okay? I like to look in both directions. All right. All right, from a weekly perspective, we've been bouncing right off of this monthly Keltner channel top, explode off of it, come back and test it, explode off of it, come back and test it for support, explode off of it, come back and test it. We did break down up into it. Like I said, this 50-day 200 is looking good. If we get a down cycle, right? Looks like we got a lot of support at 101, right? So we could play the, the 110, 105 puts to the downside, and then to the upside, 120, 125. It's a little bit more of a cluster chart, but we just came from daily bottom, daily mid, daily top, back down to daily mid. And then from the daily mid, do we cycle down to daily bottom again? Or do we stick and come off of the 4-hour support and move our way back up to the daily top, right? $4.50 ATR, right? I believe that's right. Daily mid is at 112, so like I said, that 113 support. Up, back, up again. This would be a nice little move, right? Up, back, up. I don't know if we could be considered an LYV move, possibly. But like I said, if we break down, then we'd have our downside move, right? So that's the beauty of looking at things from the upside and the downside. All right, that's the weekly 4-hour, daily. Did we look at the 4-hour? Yeah. So next up on the list is, all right, we did pull back to VWAP. We gave up the 30-minute 200, and we're negatively stacked moving averages below the cloud, below point of control. So if we're currently in a down cycle, right, we have that room down to 111, which is a key level, right? There's a lot of volume sitting here at 111. 108 would kind of be the line in the sand, next volume level. Let's see if I can get some fibs, some Fibonacci's from there to there. So easy 618 pullback. I guess that's what it's going to be. I would think that that would be more accurate. Just looking at the volume levels, or this one here. Trying to line up the fibs with the most volume. Looks like that's what it is. All right. So we're at a 618 pullback. We could come back down to 112 and then 110. That would be a 382 retrace, right? If we break and start closing below that 382, then we know it's downtrending, right? Technically, computerized, official, robotic downtrend is a breaking of the 382, okay? So we have downside plays, we have upside plays. Next up on the list is my little magic kilts, right? I like to look at these. I'm going to do 5 on that. And then the 4 hour, so 4 hour chart, we're back to pretty key level of support here, right? 4 hour bottom, 200-day support level. Week, is that the monthly? Yeah, the monthly cloud, I think. Yeah, back to the monthly cloud. So we're looking for a move 114 for our mid, 117 for our top 120, right? Above that, I don't know if we hit 125. So let's look. I'm going to adjust my calls to the 115, 120, 125 calls. I think that just makes sense, okay? All right. Okay, from an options perspective, lots of volume and open interest to the 125s, to the upside, and then the downside, 105s, 95s, I don't know, 115, 105, 100 puts, and then the 120, 125 calls. I think that that's a pretty accurate estimation. 110, 105. We could even do 105, 100. So let's look at those. Sorry. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I've got my little notes section over here that I just got to make sure I keep notes for things. Because what will happen is I'll end this video, and if I don't have notes, I'll have to go back through and either watch the video or just reenact all of them. All right, that's it for LYV. Next up on our list is we have, let's make a choice. That looks pretty juicy. I like this GM. Let's look at GM real quick. All right, GM's got lots of volume, lots of potential coming into it, lots of regular and dark pool trades. Look at this gorgeous divergence, right? When I talk about divergence playing out, let me show you a good example of it here. So we have divergence here where price is heading in one direction, as you can see, and smart money is heading in another. Well, as soon as smart money starts buying back into that position, as price is coming down, right, that divergence, that bearish divergence played out. So they're selling you stuff, right? They're selling you these calls as they come up, right? And they start taking profit. Does that make sense? You can see that divergence clearly played out here, right? Price comes down to the flow index, and the flow index doesn't go up to price, okay? Very important to keep that in mind. Flow index make higher highs and higher lows. Currently have divergence that's occurred right at around the $44 level, right? So we have divergence from, let's just call it 42 to 44, and then 44 to 46. Right? 42 to 44 divergence. All right. Lots of, let's see, we've got a white line level at 45.20, 45.21. We've got regular and dark pool support and resistance on the way back up. Dark pools at 42.86, regular blocks at 42.96. I think that's a pretty decent level of support. As you can see, there's a white little box right there. That regular block came in at that time, right? And as we're coming back up, this divergence is going to be a magnet to the upside. So I'm looking at the 44 calls. And then possibly, if we get bullish, we can do the 44, 46. To the downside, if we do reject this regular and this dark pool level here, and we have continued movement to the downside, we would look at previous lows, levels of support, all right, 40. So 42, 41. I would do 40, 41. Okay. All right, that was GM. I just learned a new little trick here in TradingView. If I hold down my Alt left right key, it just kind of cycles through. Interesting. Interesting. I'm all about keyboard shortcuts. I love them. All right, so we are down cycling. Radiant Fire is pushing down. The TTM squeeze is on its down cycle, right? That's because we rallied up to 1 ATR. We're currently retraced to the 21. When I say we retrace to the 21 all the time, it happens. It's just kind of a standard. So if we were to trade negatively, right, we have big support at 40 and 41. So that would be -1, -2 ATRs as a down cycle, and then we would kind of bounce back, so like an elastic or a guitar string, right? Back to the 40, the 43, 43.25, 44. The 50-day is pretty interesting here at 46. Sorry about that. All right, so 45, 46. I think that's right. I'm going to go with dollar increments on these. So 40, 41 puts, 45, 46 calls, right? That divergence runs 42 to 44, right? I go a little bit about the money just so that I can get a better value for my options. All right, earnings. All right, we have earnings later this month, so this could be a pre-anticipatory run into earnings. Let me change my chart to, all right, so weekly Kelt through the monthly mid, testing the FlowTrade 50-day on a weekly, right, off of the weekly 50-day, up, back again. Maybe a broadening pattern. I'm not exactly sure, but I like this MACD getting ready to cross up and over. Like I said, if we do have to trade into the supplies or demand zone that runs from 40 to 41, we can pretty easily, right? There it is, that 40 to 41 daily, weekly supply zone or demand zone, support zone. Shoosh. We went daily Kelt bottom, daily Kelt mid, daily Kelt top, daily Kelt mid, right? Now we either go mid to bottom or we go mid back up to top. Ping pong ball, remember that, okay? Sloping down 50, below the 200 on the 4-hour. Daily perspective, we gapped up to the top of the weekly cloud and we pulled back. It's as long as this weekly cloud support holds and we don't have to trade into this supply zone, which is the 50-day, I think we can move back up to weekly mid. That's a big move. What was the ATR on this? $1.71 ATR? How come that doesn't sound right? I don't believe that. I think there's something off with that. Let me just double check. If I can find it. Average true range is 1.5. $1.50 a day. That's not bad, right? Considering we're looking at only moving $3 to $4. Okay, so this is a key level of support. So below 42, let's say below 42.50, we hit 40. All right, 42.50 support. We down cycle to 40. Pretty easy peasy to see. All right, nice, $46 down cycle. We gave up point of control. As soon as, this is what I'm talking about, stack positive moving averages. Look here. Back on the 29th, pre-market, obviously, our moving averages got stacked positive, right? At the open, right, that was a big old move up, right? From that, there's going to be profit taking, right? We gave up the 50 days, so we down cycle. We gave up the 200, so we're pushing down. As soon as these moving averages went from positive to negative, right, from positively stacked, 8, 21, 34, 50. They went from negatively stacked 8, 21, 34, 50. Look at the down cycle, right? So we're trying to get stacked positive. There's lots of volume and momentum up here at this 44, 44, 50 level, right? So 44, 50 is POG, VWAP, lots of volume there, okay? Is that a trend line support? I don't know. We're definitely trading at the top of a previous supply zone, which is now current demand zone. So the move, we like that move back up through the moving averages, taking advantage of these TTM squeezes that might release to the upside. 44.50 would be the target. So based on options value, we would look at all right, a little sketchy that we are through some of these key levels, some of these key Keltner channel support levels. So daily bottom magnet at 40. So if we have to complete our down cycle, we come back down to 40. That'll give time for things to kind of reverse around. So look for an initial pop to 43.25 and then set up a larger move to the downside for the beginning of the week. So 40, right? Early week move, or we break 43.50 to 44.50. All right. Sorry, I'm keeping notes. I don't keep notes, you guys know what happens. All right, from an office and key levels of support, like I said, we got a little bit of a fight to do to get back super bullish, right? So above, I would say above 44.50, yeah, 44, 44.50, 45. All right, let's look at our options contracts here. What do we got going on? Lots of volume and open interest at these 45s, 46 calls. This one is super interesting to me, this 44, because look at the volume. There's 759 volume hits for 1,473 open interests. That means that basically everybody's bought 2 calls, right? At least 2. I'm not really seeing a butterfly at 45, but it could very possibly be there. I like this, the delta of these 44.50s. It looks like those are brand new. So they just added 50-cent increments. But it's a good delta, and 29 to 32, that's a good spread. So I'm going to go with the 44.50s and load, manage my risk with those. From a put perspective, right, all the volumes at these 42s, right? Those 41.50s from a delta perspective would be about as low as I would go. So 42, 41.50 puts. $41.50, 42 puts, and then I said the 43.50, 44.50 calls. I wouldn't go any further out than the 44.50 calls, right? I think that 44.50 will be a magnet. Definitely think that's the magnet, because remember our TrendSpider chart, lots of, right, 44.50, point of control, the 200-day, the 30, or the VWAP, right, Ichi Cloud, 30-minute time frame, slingshot squeeze, all sorts of things happening at that 44.50. All right, next up on our list is BBY, which is, I believe, Best Buy. BBY. This will get some short interest too, by the way. I believe this used to be one of those Wall Street death stocks. What did I do? Did something. Sorry about that. My bad. All right. First thing I notice is that there are no dark pool blocks happening in the last 5 days. It's all regular blocks, right? So we had a regular block come in at $90.38. Looks like we've got some divergence. Played out, right? So it's played out there. So you've got some pretty clearly defined support levels here, right? Let's just call it 89.50. We have regular blocks as on the way up as we stair step up to fill these gaps, right? 90, 90.38, 90.90, 92.72, 96.73, and 100.75. The divergence, let's see that it's played out there. $96. All right, just round numbers. Let's look at the 95, 100 calls. From a puts perspective, we would have to do 90, 85 puts, right? This thing looks like it can move quite a bit. All right, where are we trading it? So, -2 ATR, revert to the mean, rally up out of the mean, reject the 200-day, come back, fail the 50-day, ride the mean. Do you see what I mean by this 21-day, this mean at 99? Right, let's just call 99 the mean. And then we go 108, 99, 92, right? A little $8 move. So daily ATR 474, and it's got about an $8 range. You would have to do the 100, 110, 190 iron condor or iron fly and just collect a credit. That's one way you could do it. Or we could look to trade the -1 or -2 ATR reversion to the mean, which is 50-day simple moving average, the 21-day exponential, and point of control at 100. All right, 100 magnet psychological level. It's also the mean and the 50-day. Okay. All right. These changed over to. All right. What do we do here? So. Currently trading at the weekly 200 SMA. Have earnings in May, so we don't have to worry about that. There was a dividend day last week. We would expect a little bit of a pullback on the dividend day, obviously. So as long as this level of support can hold here, we don't break down below 86. Jeez. 85, 82. Right. Dang. 86, 82. That'd be monthly bottom. Okay. So we're looking for a bounce here. We're looking for a bounce to monthly mid, 100, 105. From a 4-hour perspective, we're bouncing right off the daily Keltner channel bottom, right? Looking for this $90 level to hold as we fight our way back up to the 4-hour 50-day, which is at 96, and then the daily mid, which is at 98. So depending on the options, oh, they move in dollar increments. Okay, great. All right, I like those. So let's look at the 95, 96 calls. Anywhere from 95 to 100 calls. And then on the downside, we have to look at 82 to 85. So basically, if we look at closes, 4-hour closes below 89.67, and we down cycle to the supply zone that's down here, or demand zone that's down here. If this level of support holds, we fight our way up to these supply zones, right? Definitely like it from an upside perspective. From a daily perspective, all right. We went weekly bottom, weekly mid, weekly bottom, weekly mid. Weekly bottom puts us at 87.36. Wasn't that the level I just said if we crack, we're going to have problems? Let's do 89.50 or 88.50 where we downside. All right. Sorry, I just had to find the specific target levels. Yeah, I think that works. Okay. All right. After consolidating, we had a little pop rally above the 200-day, rejected point of control. Things broke down on the 30th. We broke down below VWAP. Moving averages turned to negative, right? We had a 50-200 cross rejection. So we're currently bearish, right? This is a downtrending stock, but look at this wedge, right? This is either a massive bear flag and we get pushed down. Kind of looks like a shoe, doesn't it? Right? There's a trader that I know that uses this as kind of like an elf shoe pattern where this is the heel, arch of the foot, balls of your toes, and then your toe flick makes it go bullish, right? I see negatively stacked moving averages and a lot of resistance on its way back up. But look at the volume. I know it's really hard to see, but our highest volume is right here at 99.20. Let me just show you what that looks like. Right, if I did a supply zone, so it's got a $4 ATR. There's a supply zone there. We're in a demand zone here. VWAP's at 96. So let's do this one. There's volume there. And there's highest volumes here, basically, in that area. All right, I think we're coming off of this demand zone. All right, we're out of the demand zone, up through the 8/21/34 50-day, up through the Ichi cloud. This is a 30-minute chart. We fought our way up, back up to VWAP, the supply zone, so 96. All right, so 95, 96 calls. Contrarian, we reject that. Then we have to look at '84, '82 puts. All right, that's without looking at the options flow either. Okay, so we broke down. All right, we're currently chilling daily bottom, using that as support. We like to fight daily bottom up to the 4-hour. So a break above 93, we get a move to 96, 95, and then 98. There is going to be a fight from basically 90 to 92 to 93, right? This whole move right here that it gave up on Friday. We'd like to get that back. you want to play it safe, set an alert for above 93, 93 to 97, right? So safe, move above 93 to 97. Okay. Contrarian, like I said, if we break below 89.50, I think we back test to 87.50, right? Downside, move to let's look at this one. Like I said, there may need a little flush back down to complete the cycle of the down cycle, right? Puts us at 83. What did I say? 84. I guess 83 would be the move. Move to 87. Cloud to. Sorry, I'm just making sure I get these downside positions written out. So if we have a nasty week, I want to make sure I look for a good downside target, right? So we would have to trade down to the bottom of some KEL levels. So that would be kind of rough. Sorry, I got to get used to all my colors. That's why I can't really show you guys that chart yet until I get it figured out. Until I learn it inside and out. All right, so longs. $95s. Let's look at deltas. I wouldn't go above 94s on the Best Buy calls. Put side, the 90s, right? Delta. Yeah, look at the spreads. They're really ugly on the put side. 10 cents, 15 cents, 18 cents, 14 cents. On the call side, 8 cents, 8 cents, 8 cents, 8 cents, or 4 cents pretty much, or 6. Depending on what you can take from a risk tolerance perspective, the 92s look pretty decent. They've got enough open interest and volume that you can get in and get out, right? So let's look at the 92, 94 calls, and then the 90 puts. I wouldn't dare go any lower than that. To really it'd be the 90 calls, 90 or 92 calls and 90 puts. You know what? Let's go out another week on these. I like the April 14th 95 calls. Just want to give myself a little time because this week's, they just look a little funky, right? There's just not enough. But those 95s have got decent delta. You could do the 94s. you know, there may be some interest coming in early in the week. Yeah, this 86, there's nothing loading on these 86s. So they just added that level. I think that that would probably come up as the lowest delta, but it's a pretty decent spread. There's just not a lot of volume and open interest in these. So let's look at the 85s. Just round, good, nice round numbers, right? 95 calls, 85 puts, right? That gives us 2 weeks. It moves supposedly $4 a day, which I can't believe. Which is, let me just double check this. So it's saying 382. So this is off. That makes sense, right? We could hit, yeah, I like it. All right. I think I'm going to shut it down. I will go over TLT real quick, just from a flow index perspective, and then just look at some options. Like I said, it's an ETF that technically moves. Sometimes it's supposed to move inverse of the SPY, right? That's why they say TLT is a snitch, because it gives away everything, right? It kind of snitches on the SPY, but look at this big old bullish divergence we've got going on here, right? So this is smart money saying that the SPY is going to come down, right? So as smart money comes down, we get divergence, right? Initially occurred at 133, price moved all the way down to 130, reverted to the divergence area at 133, right? 133.50. Price is moving up, or price is moving down, flow index is moving up. We got some more divergence that's occurred. It occurs probably, it's 133.50, moves down, catches back up to price. So higher lows and higher highs coming out. Look at this big move on Friday, right? Last week, a little dip and then a big old move. 132.66 is the last dark pool level. So I would, if you want to be safe, 133. Fill that gap, 134.92. Fill another gap up to 135. Right? TLT is only supposed to move $1 to $2 a day. Let's see. Oh, I miss FinBiz. I haven't seen it for quite a while. Let's see if I can find it. I can't believe I forgot all about FinBiz for at least a month. $2.31 ATR on TLT, right? So 33 to 35, right? Flow index making higher lows and higher highs. Just keep an eye on it, right? Currently trading with price, moving it up. This divergence here would have been great to catch, but we didn't, right? So on the pullback, downside, if SPY starts ripping, this will pull back, right? That's why I didn't really want to get into going over TLT too much. It just moves a little bit differently than what most people are used to. So, all right, that's it. I'm out. Thanks for joining me. I'm Dark Pool Algo. I'm sorry this video took so long. I'm a little rusty. I'll get better at it next week, I promise. We'll get those cranked out quickly. What I'm going to do, and just so that everybody's aware, oops, sorry, didn't even bang the mic. I'm going to create a how do you read the flow index FlowTrade chart, right? It's going to be a prerequisite before the weekly watch list. I spend way too much time kind of explaining what's going on here. I believe that if you've been here for a while and you're following me and you know what's up and you've already hit the like button and subscribed, you should be able to understand what the flow index charts are. I want to be able to get through these quickly so that you guys can get on with your weekends and, you know, I can get on to my next video. Thanks for joining me. I'm Dark Pool Algo. I stream every morning, Monday through Friday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. If you're interested, join me there for about an hour. Kind of goes over what we need to look out for the day, any news and events, earnings, and yeah, it's a great time. Love to see you there. Have a great day. Stay safe, stay green, and hit the like button on your way out the door. Do a brother a solid. Subscribe. Leave comments in the comment section below. We'll see y'all soon.